body operates at specific frequencies. You're all operating at a frequency, a specific hertz, cycles per second right now. The gentleman in the front here, he had a little cell phone in his pocket. The cell phone went off, probably operating at about 2.4 billion hertz or somewhere in that range, changing every frequency and vibration of his heart and body. Every single second he has that on them. Any of you guys have a phone on you in this room? That's what's happening. We're not to be changing these things. It's not natural. Your human body, it's human antenna. All your cells are fractal antenna. They don't have a choice. So if you're driving by a cell phone tower or by a smart meter, you don't have a choice. Your cells receive that frequency. That's it. And they adapt to what they're being hit with. And in this case, these frequencies cause electrical failure. And electrical failure means disease. It doesn't always happen right away or every second, but over time, when you keep trying to change someone's frequency to an unnatural state, you're going to have unease or dis-ease. So what do? We decide to buy cell phones. We decide to buy cordless phones and all these different things. And we see all these massive growth rates and all these technologies, and we wonder why year after year all these diseases are getting more prevalent. There's more and more problems. Everyone's in the hospital. Our hospitals are full. We don't know what's going on. We have these cell phone towers. I know they're definitely in Vernon. They're everywhere. They're in Kamloops, all over the place. These little routers and collectors, they have a lot of capabilities. These things are like little miniature cell phone towers that are going to be right beside your houses, your schools, your daycares, all of these things. So if you have a cell phone and your cell phone works, you are being hit by one of these towers, sending those microwaves directly to your brain. That's how it works. And this is the amount of cell phone towers we have in Canada right now. And in fact, this map, I believe, is a year or two old. You can't even imagine how fast these things go up and how much more and more of these towers are, especially when you start talking about the 4G networks, and then they want to have a 5G and a 6G. So they always need more and more towers. And they say, oh, it's natural. It's just like the sun. This is all normal. This isn't nature. So this is what's going on. This is why everyone can drive around and their phone works, and they can drive around and be on their phone. So what do we do in our infinite wisdom? You saw all those frequencies that you're just supposed to be at these 8 or so hertz. Now we got these phones that are at 6 billion hertz. And we put those up to our heads. And this is how this works. Cordless phones, cell phones, all the same stuff. Microwaves going directly into your brain. That's how it works. That's a base station right here. This is where you guys hang up your phones at night. Definitely don't sleep with one of those by your bed. So this device here needs to get the voice to my head. Why? Because I've removed the cord. I've removed the cord. Now we require some type of fake cord or a microwave that carries that to there. But that doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop at the phone like a cord would, where it puts the frequency directly into it. That microwave goes to the phone and into my brain, vibrating all of my brain cells in my entire body at massive amounts of frequencies that I'm not designed to do. So a lot of people have probably been using these phones and they don't even know this. They don't understand the technology and they don't know why. And that's fine, but now you know. Now you're responsible for that knowledge. So this is what's going on. Those things penetrate inside in the brain, or they attenuate, whatever the terminology you want to call it is. Bottom line is your brain cells and your ears are being vibrated. This is something else you guys want to look at. How many of you guys got metal fillings in your mouth? You ever thought of what might happen when you start microwaving mercury? The vapor is going into your brain, the frequency changes, all the microwaves bouncing off, going into your head and your brain. What about people, the least protected spot on your body is your eyes. A lot of people with glasses in the room I can see already, and you're putting those phones up into your head, accepting that microwave directly into your eyeballs. Also the hearing. Curtis talked about it. Tinnitus, buzzing, clicking, ringing, tingling in the ears. That's right in the military documents, which I'm about to show you guys. That's not going to go away. And it's not going to help you to continue to exposing your ears to those microwaves. So this is displaying how the microwaves attenuate into the brains, and then the people, especially the pregnant women or people that are soon to be pregnant, will walk around with a cell phone in their pocket or carry a cordless phone or the clip-on baby monitors, and the microwaves don't stop at the phone. Again, they penetrate through. That is the laws of microwaves and electricity, which I am representing at this time. This is also what we do. Now we're deciding that, actually I think in 2014 in the United States they're doing a whole bunch of stuff regarding this, but now we're putting microwave chips to monitor where our children go. So now they're in the womb, they're being exposed. As soon as they get out of the womb, we want to expose them. And actually before they're even at a point where the female is pregnant, they're going to be exposed while that female is inside the womb, because that female is going to carry her eggs forward that she has for life. And carrying around the laptops in school with the Wi-Fi. Baby monitor, same thing. Sending microwaves. This is how the microwaves work. Vibrating the cells of the little children at all times. We're changing the frequencies, we're changing DNA. This is what we do. Schools have already been removing Wi-Fi. That's what Ed was talking about, because they understand, they've looked at it. That's why all the insurance companies will not insure for this, because they know the damage that this stuff causes. And country after country is really starting to look at this and say, why are we inducing our children in classrooms when we can simply hardwire these computers? So it's not about going back to the Stone Age, it's actually just using safe technology. Thank you. So Hydra likes to say things like, oh, there's Wi-Fi in coffee shops, or there's Wi-Fi in this room, so everything's fine. Let's put a smart meter on every single house. Here we have here at Yale, a reputable university, talking about cell phone use in pregnancy may cause behavioral disorders in offspring. Are we surprised that all these kids are going to school now? They can't pay attention, they have to be on Ritalin, they can't concentrate, they have loss of memory, all these types of things. This is part of the problem as well. When Curtis is talking about Safety Code 6, that test is done for a 6'2" human, a military man, basically a military soldier. That's not taking into consideration at any point in time children. Their skulls aren't as thick, they're not fully developed, their immune system isn't fully developed about to the age of 18. They're using a massive man, and they're not understanding that these frequencies are penetrating. Test after test shows this stuff. Then we walk into our work environments as we grow up. We're starting to see how there could be a cumulative effect and problems here. Then we start putting these smart meters all over the place on every single house. Then we have gas meters, then we have water meters and more smart meters, collectors, towers, cell phone towers. And then we start getting messes like this where we're microwave radiating entire cities. The amount of microwave radiation in this town is going to be extremely high. Never at any point in time in human evolution have we been exposed to this type of stuff, and we're starting to see the effects of these types of things as we move forward. Carcinogenesis, these types of problems. 1 kilogram, 1 degree, 6 minutes. That's the testing that's protecting you. As we might have talked about earlier, if this mannequin's head doesn't heat up to 1 degree, the soapy liquid inside of it, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. You're all safe. You can be exposed for the rest of your life to as many things as you want, as long as you don't heat up. That's what they're saying. So this comes back to the point where Hydro is denying these things. They deny your electrical properties. And why do they do that? So these guys in the telecom industry and all these guys can make lots of money unhindered by any laws or anything. And they're not even taking into consideration the towers that are penetrating the brain. And why I use this label here, 4G networks. Now with the 4G network, you have to be hit with 2 towers at all times in order for that stuff to work. So you can get your videos on your phone, and people can watch YouTube on the bus and radiate everyone else on the bus. So the cell phone industry says we don't want to test these on humans, even though there's 5 billion people on the planet now with cell phone subscriptions. So they're already testing them on humans. We already have those massive cell phone towers all over the place testing them on humans. But they say it's because it wouldn't be ethical. But it is, of course, ethical to market cellular phones directly to babies. So we can get those kids hooked on phones as fast as possible. We can make the most amount of money for the entire lifespan of that consumer. Ethics again. We don't want to test on kids. We wouldn't test on babies. We wouldn't do that. We're the telecom industry. We're the microwave industry. We wouldn't do that, would we? 24/7, again, multi-source for life. So this is what they're leaving out of the equation, and they're doing it on purpose so they can proliferate this technology and make a lot of money. All they've done the testing for is short term and for the thermal level. That's it. They've left out the long-term cumulative exposures, and they'll always say, well, there needs to be more long-term exposure studies done. You saw those chicken embryos and eggs. That's what happens. What you have, your only gift, your only saving grace, is the fact that your immune system tries to compensate for this stuff, and it can be in a state that it's trying to heal you. But over time, when you continually microwave radiate your brain, your immune system has troubles, your immune system has difficulties, and all types of diseases and disorders can happen. Here's the Naval Medical Research Institute. This is the data that they are giving to us, and this is the data that I'm presenting for you right now. Why do I like military documents? I like military documents because the military doesn't mess around. They are very binary, yes or no, zeros and ones. Does this hurt our guys? Can we hurt their guys? How do we protect our guys? How can we allow it so they can't protect their guys? So they did a compilation of 2,300 studies, and these are some of the things that they showed and found. Impotence. Everybody knows what are the top selling drugs out there. Guys are carrying the cell phones around in their pockets. According to the military documents, these are the things they're showing. Also, lack of concentration, loss of memory. This is the military finding this early in the 70s, mid-70s. Then what happens is the Yale studies come out and confirm this. And study after study confirms the exact same thing. That's what science is called. That's what science is. When you have repeatable results over time, with multiple sets of subjects in different areas, in different studies, you get the same results. That's what happens. Here we have endocrine gland functions, altered pituitary function, hyperthyroidism, thyroid enlargement. A lot of women, sometimes they have problem weight loss, weight gain. What's happening? You got that phone up to your head and your thyroid's all right in here. You're microwaving your whole brain. Your pineal gland, your pituitary gland, all your glands right in here. You're changing the frequencies. The body's trying to compensate. It can't do it forever. And we're not talking about giant microwave weapon beams. We're talking everything on the spectrum. These are the things that they were finding. Central nervous system effects, headaches, insomnia, restlessness, all these types of cranial nerve disorders. Disease after disease, and it changes per subject. And why does that happen? Because all of you have different frequencies, different ages, everything. So when you put that up to people, they're going to have all different types of susceptibilities, and these are the things that we're finding. Changes in the operation of implanted cardiac pacemakers, an electrical device right inside. Now Hydro is going to force those things. In the specs of those devices, they are told not to be around cell phones. They're told not to be around cordless phones. And now Hydro is going to force those devices onto their homes. What else do we have? Changes in physiological function. Altered menstrual activity. Altered fetal development. Hopefully, I'm able to try and substantiate, according to the military documents that I was talking about earlier, and all the stuff. When you microwave radiate a fetus before it is even born, Yale, all these guys are finding the exact same things every single time. Decreased lactation in nursing mothers. Changing the frequencies and the operation of the body. This is what happens. Here we have more studies from the Army. This is the Department of the Army. I'm sure they have a lot of reputable scientists who want to know the exact facts and do the work to find them. Radio frequency radio waves. 100% of the population would be susceptible. Why would 100% of the population be susceptible? Because everybody is electrical. Everybody has frequencies. You start changing those frequencies, you have a susceptibility to disease and problems. All these other things, muscle spasms, all the way up to loss of consciousness. Every time they find the same results. Here's the Environmental Protection Agency. 574 pages in 3,627 studies. Already we're over 5,000 studies and documents. What does this do? 0 to 100 gigahertz, everything along the lines of any type of microwaves you can have. Page after page after page after page of documents and studies just like this. This is just one page out of the studies of effects on the central nervous system. This is what the EPA wanted to present in 1992 in order for people to know, hey, this should be a class 2A carcinogen. This gives people cancer. And they said, no, we don't want to. The government started saying, no, we don't want to enter that stuff in. And they started fast-tracking laws for the FCC to be able to install these towers because they knew this was the effects. And now they tried to eliminate the right of choice of all the people, a right of choice to their health. Here's Korean War veterans. More and more documents, more and more studies showing the exact same things. We have the higher rates of exposure, more rates of death. Why? The more microwaves, the more death. This is the stuff that happens. We've shown this over time. They've known about this since the 1930s when they first started using the microwaves to make tables and all different kinds of stuff for heat. And what started happening, part of the determination of the 1,000 microwatts per square centimeter came from when they switched from propeller to jet engines, they needed more powerful radars. And they had our guys sitting by the radars watching this stuff, but these guys were starting to get sick and dying, as we can clearly see here. So what did they say? Well, we need to absolve ourselves from liability because we need to have these guys by these radars. So they just upped the levels of exposure that they thought were safe, and they've left it there. That's where this all happened. Here we have permanent genetic mutation and DNA damage. Time after time, the exact same thing being shown from lower levels of microwave, not at levels that heat you up 1 degree per kilogram after 6 minutes, at the lower levels, levels of cell phones, 24 hours of mobile phone exposure. That's genetic damage, that's DNA damage. Study after study is showing this. So Hydra likes to give you some nonsense about these meters going off 3 or 4 times a day. Here's the background level.
I live the 70 alarm is residential 1021. KDS alarms about audible hallway motion and they're notifying.